The facilitator has co-created the agenda with the youth and family prior to the meeting. The facilitator provides the agenda to each team member ahead of time and provides a copy at the meeting. The family team meeting is structured into 3 stages. Stage 1 is setting the stage. Stage 2 is advancing progress. And Stage 3 is action planning. Stage 1, setting the stage. Introductions. Youth's vision for themselves as a young adult. Family's vision for their child and family. Review focal treatment needs. Update from youth. Stage 1 begins.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome you all to Katie's family team meeting and thank each of you for making the time to be here. I had the pleasure of meeting with Katie and with Maggie also earlier this week, which was really helpful in planning this meeting. So you're going to see that there's an agenda on everyone's table. You should have received this before the meeting, but if you want to just use it to jot notes or just kind of keep track of where we are, hopefully that's helpful. And I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves. We're going to start with Katie and her parents and her sister first. And if you could, when you're just introducing yourself, tell us what your relationship is with Katie and also a strength of Katie and her family. So Katie, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself first because this is your meeting.
I'm Katie. I think everyone knows me already. And a strength of my family is, I think like me and Lexi and how much we love each other.
That's pretty special. You're going to see me with add your strength to this shirt over here. This just helps us keep track of where we are in the meeting and the ideas that we might have. So I'm going to write under strengths, Lexi and Katie's relationship. And then Maggie, would you introduce yourself next?
Sure, I'm Maggie and Lexi, Katie and Lexi's mom. And I would say that a strength of our family is that we really love each other and support each other.
That is a very important strength. And lots of love and support in family. Thank you. And Juan?
Hello, my name is Juan, and I'm Katie's father, Alexi's father, her husband. And strength of our family is we like to travel, we like to have fun, and especially like to travel to Puerto Rico, where I'm from, and visit our family. And a strength of Katie is that she likes the outdoors, and every time we take it to the island, she likes to roam around and jump in the ocean and swim and all stuff like that.
That sounds wonderful. All right. So love of travel. Especially Puerto Rico. And then Katie loves the outdoors. All right. And Lexi, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lexi. I'm Katie's sister. Me and Katie talk a lot. That's the big strength. She's fun to talk to.
Nice. Thank you, Lexi. All right, let's sort of back up now. And John, you want to introduce yourself and your role with Katie?
Yeah, my name is John. I am Katie's outreach worker. We've been working for a little bit now.
All right, so I really want to just clarify the purpose and the goal for this meeting because we all come from different backgrounds, and we're really meeting today to make a plan that will meet Katie's needs and her family's needs for safety, to build their natural supports, and to work towards family stability. And we want to recognize that Katie and her parents are the experts on their own lives, and we really appreciate you being here and participating today.
Can I ask a question just to clarify? Because I'm also under the impression that we are planning for discharge, and I want to make sure that it's part of our agenda.
So it absolutely will be part of the agenda, as next steps are something that we'll discuss towards the end. And so let's get started. And I wanted to just take a minute to develop some ground rules today. It's the first time that all of us are meeting together. And so many of you have made ground rules before, but really, how is this meeting going to work, right? Will we just be kind of free speaking? Will we make a point not to interrupt each other? What's important as we go through this meeting? Any thoughts about what people might want to have on there as our ground rules today?
I think it's important for us to all have a voice.
I love that one. Really center Katie's voice. And then everyone has a voice in this meeting. Anyone else? Maggie?
Yeah, I would like to not have the outcome before we have the meeting.
I think that's a wonderful.
This notion that this is a discharge planning meeting, that was not my understanding of why we were coming here today.
So when we spoke the other day, I made sure that I was clear and letting you know that at this point in time, we're looking at discharge. And with the intention of having me be here is like just join you and your team so that we can come with a supportive process and supportive discharge. That was my understanding.
So Beatrice, well, I appreciate the input. I think let's go through the process. I think Maggie is absolutely correct that we do as a team need to make decisions. Maggie is Katie's mother, knows her better than any of us.
Oh, I agree with that.
And so we'll all put our heads together. And Maggie, I want you to know that your concerns will be addressed as part of this. So let's move on with those ground rules. And so process before outcome. Any other? So at this point, we really do use a model that's centered around Katie's voice and her family's voice. And so, Katie, I would like to ask you to share your vision of yourself as a young adult. Sort of, what are you hoping for?
Lean thoughts.
I want to get out of the hospital, and I just want my life to get back to normal. I just want to go home and have my cell phone back and hang out with my friends and get a job and just be normal. And I want to travel again. I want to go to Puerto Rico again this summer. And before all of this, we were talking about me doing a trip to Spain with my school, and I want to do that. And I just want life to go back to normal.
Those are some really great goals, Katie, and I really appreciate you sharing. So I have to leave the hospital. This one should be capital letters, go full, because that is your big goal. And you'd like to have a cell phone again. Mm-hmm. You would like to be able to travel again. You'd like to be able to see friends. And I think I missed one. Did you say something about Lexi, maybe?
I said going on a school trip to Spain, but also I do want to just hang out with Lexi and not be in this hospital room with nothing to do. I just want to go home and watch TV and go for a hike.
Thank you, Shady. I think these are some really great goals to work towards. And Maggie and Juan, I want to invite you to share your goals for Katie next.
You want to go first?
I think I want all of the same things that Katie wants. I would love for her to be home and things went back to the way they were. But I also need to know that we're not going to have the same situation happen again, that you're not going to be doing something to hurt yourself. And I'm not sure that with the work that has been done so far, that that we can be sure that that's going to be the case, and that I can't, we don't have the ability to be there like you all are in the hospital, 24/7 watching her. And I don't want to have a repeat of the situation, that was horrible. And I don't think that we're there yet. I don't.
So would it be accurate, Maggie, to say that your goal is to ensure that Katie is safe and has safe behaviors before returning?
Yes, absolutely. And then, it's home is not the same as the hospital.
And so later on, we're going to need to talk more about exactly what that means, safe behaviors, but I think that's a great goal to start with. And I heard you talk about the 24/7, that's not possible. So would a goal be for Katie to be able to be home and be unmonitored for a certain amount of time, or that you would still be able to go to work and do the other things that you need to do while Katie is home?
I think eventually that would be the case, but I need to know that she's going to be safe, and that we're, that we're not going to run into the same thing. So I haven't been, assured of that, or I don't know what it is that we need to do or that she needs to do to get there, but I don't think she's there yet.
Hopefully that's part of what we'll figure out
If possible, because
So I'm going to ask you to wait until Mom is done with her vision, because this is really her part of the meeting, but there is going to be lots of time to talk about getting to safety, which I think is where we all need to be.
I just want, because I do have a hard stop, so I want to make sure that I get to speak on behalf of the patient.
Absolutely. Let's keep it on track then. So Maggie, thank you for sharing all that. I really appreciate it. And Juan, would you like to share sort of your vision for Katie and your family? Yes. All right. So as we begin, Katie has taken some time and completed a tool called I Want to Say Something, where she was very brave and put down where she's at, what she needs, what she's worried about. And she has asked John to read that this morning. Is that so what you would like to have? Okay.
Are you ready for us to talk about this though?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
And she wants to be able to do fun things like going out, things like going to school. Like she finds joy in those, and she wants to continue like having that support. So that's like that's Katie's voice. That's the things that she's looking for.
The I Want to Say Something tool can be used to integrate youth and family voice into the young person's planning and their family team meetings. This tool can be used with children as young as 6, as well as young adults. You can find more information about the tool on the Children's Behavioral Health Knowledge Center website at www.cbhknowledge.center.
And the things that are going well for me is my sister Lexi. My relationship with Lexi, I think we really get along, and I love spending time with her so much. And then I do enjoy going to school and my counselor there. And I'm also on the dance team at school, and I love doing that. And I love seeing my friends at school. So I guess school is something that is going well in general.
with all of those different people there. And I guess what I'm worried about is, what is it going to take for my mom to let me come home? I'm worried that my mom doesn't want me to come back. And I feel like if I don't prove myself, I'm just going to get sent away. And yeah, I guess that's what I'm worried about.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I do want to give you a moment, Maggie. I hear you, Katie, saying that you feel like your mom doesn't want you to come home. And I think Maggie might want to clarify that.
That makes me so sad to think that you think that. There's nothing that I want more is for you to be home and for this to not even ever had happened. But I'm so scared. I am so scared about, whether we are going to be able to keep you safe at home. We're not a hospital. We're not therapists.
Katie, does that help you understand a little bit more what you overheard with your mom on the phone? Do you have any questions about that?
No, I get it. And I want you to trust me. And I don't know what it's going to take to prove myself to you guys.
I think that's really where we need to go with this meeting, right? Is to really sit down and talk about what needs to happen.
Can I ask Katie something? Katie, I don't know for you, but for me, it would feel like a lot of pressure. Do you feel like there's a lot of weighing on you to make sure things go right? Yeah. So I just want to respect that this would be a lot for anyone to hold, but now we're talking about a 15-year-old and just the weight that holds to kind of have the 15-year-old be what feels like the peacemaker, that she is causing chaos and now we're having needs to be peace. Just that there's a lot of pressure in that, and just holding me to facilitate the meeting in a way where we can kind of dissipate the responsibility a little bit, so that there's multiple people in the family are doing different interventions, not just Katie needing to be safe. I guess that's a very it's a heavy thing to say.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
That's part of what we struggle with. We want to take responsibility, but Katie hasn't told us why she did what she did, what's going on, what does she need, what have we've struggled, what have we done wrong? Did we cause this? Did we, is there something that we can do, so to ensure that this, but she, every time that we talk to her, she's always, I don't know why I did this. I don't, so it's hard to change anything, when we don't know what happened.
I just want to reflect on some things we've talked about in family meetings of really being able to understand what was the motivation for Katie, what was the source of her distress at that time. And I know in my individual conversations with Katie, she has been able to gradually express what those intentions were. And I knew it's hard for her in the moment to share that with you all, given this fear of upsetting you further and given the reactivity. So she feels this immense pressure to hold that responsibility. And she has been able to successfully process what happened when she couldn't be saved. And it sounds like you all want the same things. And I think that already in itself is a positive step, right? And it's what are we prioritizing in this short-term hospitalization versus what is more long-term work in the community.
I appreciate that. I hope that was helpful clarification. And before we move into the next phase of the meeting, I want to explain a little bit. We're going to go through Katie's focal treatment needs, which are really the most pressing things that we need to address right now. And safety is going to be right up there because we've been having that conversation right along. And then we're going to go back to those strengths, right? What are some of the strengths of the family? What are Katie's strengths? There's certainly a lot of them. And we're going to do some brainstorming together to figure out what are potential next steps. As we do that, I'm going to ask you all to not interrupt each other and respect each other's voice. And at the same time, there's no bad ideas. We want to hear from everyone in this room about what ideas you have to figure out how do we get Katie from this level of care back home where everyone wants her to be, but safely. So really, I think that when we thinking about the focal treatment needs, we really need to strengthen those coping strategies, right? For big feelings, part of what kind of led us to the space that Katie was at. So write that here. Okay, we also have decreased feelings of suicidality through a DVT group. Do we feel like that's an important place that we need to spend some energy today?
What's CBT?
Well, it's dialectical behavior therapy. There is actually a great group at McLean that was actually thinking about putting in a referral for Katie. She's been very responsive to a lot of the DBT work that we've done at the hospital. And I think it would be good practice for her to continue accessing that level of modality.
I have a question. Another question.
Absolutely.
So, what is the level of risk? To talk about risk and safety, what is the level of risk that this could happen again? Does anybody knows?
So there is some research out there, and certainly adoptees who have higher risk of suicidality. But I think putting in the supports that Katie needs and making sure that there is a good safety plan that not only you and Maggie are comfortable with, but also Katie is comfortable with, because at the end of the day, Katie's the one that will have to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an important part of that brainstorming today, but I think safety is huge.
So is a DVT going to help with that?
It does, yes. Statistically, it does. It is an evidence-based practice that people use, and it is very helpful for suicidality. I just want to make sure that the family can actually, insurance will cover certain things, or they have time to take Katie to where she needs to be so that we can actually fully implement this one that we develop.
Yeah, and our community-based services are not insurance-driven, so that'll alleviate anything about length of time that is needed for in-the-home support. It's not going to be like a 6 to 9 months we're going to be in there. We're going to be in there until we think that Katie has met the goals that we've put out for today, and that we can step down with, maybe a less intensive service in the community where it could continue to manage more and still working on the mental health.
Including IHT work?
Including our IHT.
What's that?
That in-home therapy. So you would have a clinician come to the home, because I think family therapy would be a great service for the entire family. And I
Giving the 4 of those?
Yes, one therapist typically, because I definitely believe you can't do family therapy without the entire family. There is an impact to all of you. But I think a lot of these underlying things that we've talked about, the fear, the anxiety with this transition, and also a sense of belonging, that Katie wants to build and maintain, and redeveloping of trust, like that would be best suited in long-term work with an IHT team.
So as we think about all of these goals that we have, really, and we start to move into this brainstorming work together where we're all going to try to come up with some solutions, I really want us to stay focused right here, right? These are the strengths of this family and this young person. And those are really what's going to get things to a better place, is by taking advantage of those strengths. And your family has many to work together. So as we brainstorm, we're going to do that in a couple of different areas. We're going to look at, first, put our ground rules down. So it can be helpful to sort of separate these into different categories as we brainstorm. So right here, Juan and Maggie, risk and safety is very important. And so we'll be brainstorming in that area. And then thinking about family support and stability, right? We've all been through a lot. This is a lot to manage. And we want to make sure that all of you have the support that you need, and that the family feels like a safe and stable place for everyone.